how does a 56-year-old grandpa blow up in a YouTube niche already saturated with hundreds of gurus and end up making over $6 million just from YouTube in 4 years without selling any courses? Well, it's not just luck, you see. What Mark Tilbury did was extremely well planned and a stroke of genius. And if you pay attention to this video for the next few minutes, you can also use these principles to beat your competition. So I'll first touch upon the most obvious reasons for his success, and then we'll dive deeper into the actual formula he uses to get views. One thing that separates him from everybody else is that he's older. It's as simple as that. You look at all these guys, they're in their 20s and 30s, whereas he is 56 years old. And he leans into that. He leans into what makes him unique and different, and that is his unfair advantage. He's older, which means he has more experience, even though, funnily, he has the lowest net worth out of all the people you see on the screen. But because he has more experience, he's probably had more years of experience in business than all of these guys have lived on this planet, you know. So that makes it so that people believe a lot more in him compared to Iman Gadzhi or Alex Hormozi. Because if you look at comments on the YouTube videos or shorts or anywhere of people like these, what you'll see is people are saying grifter, fake guru, he's probably lying about his net worth, show me your money, show me. But if it's an older guy, you're like, yeah, that makes sense. He's old. He's probably done some cool shit. So he leans into this unfair advantage, even though he's made lesser money, but because of the perception, because of the experience, he's able to take over the market and people will not doubt what he says. The next thing, which is pretty interesting, is the fact that because his son was actually a videographer, marketer, and personal branding expert during COVID, but because of the pandemic, he wasn't able to fly out to his clients and instead decided to help his dad blow up on YouTube, and they definitely did. Now, let's get into the actual meaty strategy. So, one thing you'll notice off the bat is that Mark's strategy is to just make videos as broad as possible. Now, you'll see people like Alex Hormozi, people like Iman Gadzhi, they either niche down on their content or they go attention market, which basically means they only talk to a specific kind of person. They only talk to entrepreneurs. They only talk about sales, only talk about social media marketing agencies. They talk about a topic, which naturally means the content cannot be for everyone. Whereas the kind of content that Mark makes, and you'll see that in his most popular videos, is how to invest for beginners, side hustles, passive income ideas. I read 40 books on money. So he's making these videos that are extremely mass market, which makes it so that, well, the number of views he can potentially get goes up. Now, I actually have this views formula. It's literally a mathematical, calculatable formula that I can use to predict how many views a video will get even before you upload it. And I actually talk a lot more about this inside my school community. And if you want to join, you can join the YouTubepreneur Inner Circle. It's only $150 a month. Alternatively, you can join the YouTubepreneur Academy, which is my free group where I also have a lot of courses, especially even the formula is actually inside here. So if you want to check that out, you can. Link will be in the description. But anyways, I cannot talk about the whole formula because it actually has 27 different factors. But what I will talk about is two particular things. Actually, three. The first one is the value equation by Alex Hormozi. If you're an entrepreneur, you probably know what this is. But if you don't, I'll explain it here. There's something that Alex Hormozi calls the value equation, which basically means there are these four factors that people look at when they decide whether something is valuable enough to invest time or attention or money into or not. Now, I will not talk about all of these factors because it's unnecessary to do so, but I will talk about two of them because that is really what is separating Mark from everybody else. You see, when you look at these two videos, how to invest for beginners starting with $100, and the thumbnail says $100 to 1 million. Whereas this video by Alex Hormozi says how I would invest $1,000 if I were in my 20s, stocks, and whatever else is this other thing. Now, when you compare these two videos, on the surface, they look like they're for the same audience. But in fact, they cannot be. Which is why you can also see this video has 5.4 million views, whereas this one has 1.9 million views. Why does this happen? People judge an educational video on the basis of what is the strength of the outcome they will get. As in, how much does this outcome match what they ultimately want? Now, what most people end up doing is they will either make something that is desirable or something that is interesting to a target audience. And typically, it's very hard to get a 4 or 5 points, which basically means to get something that is aspirational or an ultimate dream for somebody. But if you just compare these two, it's very clear that one of them is a stronger dream outcome than the other. It's how to invest for beginners starting with $100, but this is where it gets interesting, right? He shows $1 million here, which is in fact an aspiration for most people. Now, if you look at this video by Alex Hormozi, it's not really telling you what you're going to get from watching. I mean, yeah, he's telling you that he's going to tell you where he would invest, but what is the outcome you're going to get from that investment is not really promised, which is why this is more into the interest territory. It's not really aspirational. So it actually ends up losing 2 points. Now, the whole point system and scaling and all that is complicated. So that's why it's in the community if you want to access it there. But anyways, for now, I'm just going to touch upon these topics so I can just explain the factors here that you need to consider. How likely do I think I will achieve the outcome that is promised here? So here is the promised outcome. And then how likely do I think I will achieve the outcome? This is on a scale of sketchy to inevitable. Like I am 100% certain I will get to that outcome. Now, if you look at these two videos, one thing that stands out is how to invest for beginners. This makes it seem like anybody can do it. So the likelihood of achievement in your head goes up, even though the videos might be the exact same. Just saying for beginners will make a piece of content stand out so much more, just because everybody wants dummy-proof stuff. They don't want to make mistakes. And so if you can make it seem like it's for beginners, it means like anybody can do it. The other thing is starting with $100. Everybody has $100, and regardless of whichever part of the world you're in, whereas invest $1,000 might not necessarily be for everyone. And if I were in my 20s, again, not for everyone. If I were in my 20s, kind of reduces the likelihood that everybody will watch it. But that's another thing for another day. The more important thing here is, I don't know how likely it is that I'm going to get the outcome that is desired. And really the desired outcome here is to know, where to invest so that I can get good returns, right? Like 79% returns. But just by looking at the thumbnail and title, I don't feel like I'm promised the outcome well enough where I am certain that I will get to see it. Whereas this one, it definitely does by saying for beginners. So because of that, I feel almost certain with this one. And this one, it's questionable. Can't clearly see it, but questionable. So that is why this video, even though it has a good thumbnail, good title, video ideas good and everything, but it falls short on the value aspect, which is something Alex Hormozi should know because it's his own formula. Okay, next factor. So we talked about this part. Now it's this part, the market size. So market size is actually a multiplication factor. The rest of the factors in the formula are addition, subtraction. This is multiplication, which means, to simplify it, it holds much higher strength. The factor that we'll consider out of the factors under market size is wide appeal. And this can actually double the views that you potentially get. Now, I did touch upon this in the previous factor where Alex Hormozi basically said in my 20s and also invest $1,000, which is not for everyone, while for beginners, starting with $100 is for everyone. And that is exactly what Mark Tilbury does, right? Iman Gadzhi sometimes makes broad videos. Alex Hormozi sometimes makes broad videos, but Mark Tilbury always makes widely appealing pieces of content. Now, widely appealing is scored on a scale of niche, broad, and universal. And so when you make something niche, it basically just means, like I showed you in the table early on, it's only for entrepreneurs or only for people who are learning sales, for example. It's niche. Broad is something like Alex Hormozi's video. So it's for anybody in their 20s who has $1,000, basically. Pretty broad. It's not niche. It's pretty broad. Whereas universal means what Mark Tilbury did, which is even with $100, you can invest. So this is a very, very, very important factor. It can literally, so this is a very important factor, and it can literally, like I said, double your views potential. And if you look at any one of these videos, it's all the same thing. How to invest for beginners, starting with $100. Promised dream outcome is pretty large, and the ease to get in, which basically means how widely appealing it is. It appeals to a large audience, pretty universal. You can watch it regardless of whichever country you're in, as long as you speak English, so you can watch the videos. You can watch these. 7 side hustles student can start in 2025. Now, this definitely has a lower appeal, but it is still very broad because it's not saying you need money to invest or anything of that sort. It's saying you can make money. And so everybody wants to make money. As a student, there's no barrier to entry here. So it's kind of widely appealing again. And again, 7 passive income ideas, how I make $67,000 per week. You see again here, the perceived likelihood of achievement is high because he's telling you he makes a specific number. He's not saying how I make 100,000. He's saying $67,257. You see, it's very specific, which increases the believability. So just by doing this, and another thing that he did, which really did help him a lot, is just make skit-based edutainment content, because finance is boring for most people. And so when he ended up making it more fun, more interesting by doing role play and stuff like that, well, it just ended up, working well for him. And the results speak for themselves. So yeah, I hope this helps somebody. I hope this helps, well, ideally everybody who's watching, but I don't know about that. So if you're somebody who wants to learn more about YouTube and about the YouTubepreneur strategies, as in how to scale your personal brand or your business using YouTube, join the YouTubepreneur Academy. Link will be in the description. Or if you want to directly learn how to make money from YouTube, join the YouTubepreneur Inner Circle. Again, link is in the description. And here you also get a one-on-one call with me where we literally build out your $100,000 YouTube strategy. And there's so many other things about funnels and so much other cool stuff. And I also do weekly coaching calls with the people there. So yeah, I hope this helps. So yeah, peace out. Thanks for watching. I hope to see you inside the YouTubepreneur Academy.